Thanks for joining us yet again. This is Sage from 𝐶𝐞 TV and you are watching the Executive Corner Expert Talks. Today's guest is Mr Jamie Andrei, the founder of 𝐵AKE Agency. And today's expert will share insights on helming the ship for a creative media company, 𝐵AKE Agency, where the team of top Australian social creators with a passion for creating high quality social videos works. And they can help with anything from Facebook live streams to 360 virtual reality video, GIFs, still photography, even optimised Instagram, Facebook and YouTube video content. They cover almost everything. So today we're very lucky to have with us Mr Jamie Andrei, the founder of 𝐵AKE Agency. It's a pleasure to meet you, Jamie.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Lovely, and I'm looking at your set there, and on your desk we can see 3 sparkling trophies. Would you like to tell us what they're for before we get started?
Some of our amazing clients got, we're really chuffed with some of the results we got for them. So they've gifted us a range of trophies. So one was for the world's best treehouse, which ended up winning the world's best Airbnb. And there's a couple just sort of ongoing little marketing trophies as a small thank you for helping them out. So it's fun to show them off.
Exactly. I'm glad I asked. The world's best treehouse. I have seen that pop up on Airbnb. That would be amazing. Can I just ask you before we start, have you actually visited it and stayed there?
Yeah, so they've been clients of ours now for sort of 6 or 7 years. They're probably moving into good friend/mate space, but it's an amazing treehouse. I got the opportunity to see it be built from scratch over sort of 2 or 3 years, and having it sort of being embraced and celebrated as one of the top Airbnb destinations has just been fantastic. And we help those guys with a range of content from 360 tours through to sort of viral videos and social content. So yeah, it's been a great experience working with them and just a stunning place. So once we're out of lockdown, look it up and maybe go and have a look.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And that's a brilliant segue, I think, to get started on today's discussion. So Jamie, with your experience in project and commercial management, we're keen to share your insights today. And apart from the usual videos, you also handle the 360-degree videos, which you've just briefly mentioned. Would you please talk about the basics of the 360-degree videos and how do they help your clients, please?
Yeah, it's a really interesting space. It's quite mature now. It might be 5 or 6 years old now, but it still hasn't taken off. You couldn't say it's mainstream. But the great thing with 360 video is traditional, I've got to get this right, traditional 2D video, a director chooses exactly where to look. So think of a feature film, think of a Marvel film. We've got a close-up of Thor and the baddies are opposite Thor. Now, if that was a 360 video experience, you could choose where to look. You could look anywhere in that scene. So in the instance of the treehouse, it's amazing. So instead of just showing 2D imagery, we captured a range of 360 videos. People could actually look around. They could look up and see the tree growing through the building. They could check out the view. They could have a look at what was behind them. If they wanted to have a look at the hardwood floors below, they could have a look at the hardwood floors below. So 360 VR videos, all about discoverability and immersion for the viewer.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really kind of blown me away because we're just not used to that at all. So excited to see what will happen next in the space. And getting organic traffic, as we know, is a tricky task. Please talk about the strategies that 𝐵AKE implements for attracting organic traffic for social media content of your clients, please.
Yeah, great question. This is a good one. I think people can get sidetracked by all the cool, fancy things like brand campaigns or paid media campaigns. I think they're still very important. Like a TV spot or sponsoring the rugby league or something might be a great way to get mass eyeballs. But I think we focus more on that digital space and just the old school basics, well-written, well-researched content that adds value. Great thumbnail. So from a YouTube point of view, helping getting views, great thumbnails will help people to actually click and view your content because it's so competitive out there. There is so much content. And other boring things that actually really help drive value, it's your descriptions, your titles, and your meta tags. So make sure you're getting in and doing some of those basics. I think of it like sort of brushing the teeth for the business. These basics will help build a link profile or make it easy for people to actually find your content. There's nothing worse than making some beautiful, great content that no one finds. And we see that regularly. We've got some really brilliant, fantastic clients, but they get stuck with maybe some of the day-to-day stuff, and that's where we can help them sort of optimize descriptions, tags, thumbnails. So producing the content's one thing, but as I said, you need to get that seen. You can do things like even take a look at some of your competitors, set some competitor benchmarks, so it can't hurt to see what they're doing over the fence there. Maybe pinch some of their little tricks or see what content might be working. So yeah, some of those basics I think is really important.
That's right. Well, they say invention does lead to innovation. And if something's working, why not see if it works for you too? I've noticed that the trending Instagram profiles usually have lots of hashtags, 10, 15 sometimes. And with picking hashtags, sometimes it can be too oversaturated. Do you have any insights to share in regards to, like, if you click on the hashtag and it says there's 20,000 posts with that hashtag or 1 million posts, would it be better to go with a hashtag with 1 million or on the lower scale, say the 20,000?
Well, I think maximise your hashtags. They're free. You can actually get in and then start to edit hashtags, particularly with YouTube. You can get in and start to edit and test hashtags. Yeah. So I'd actually test some, and I think of it like a portfolio. Think of it like a portfolio of shares. You wouldn't just bet the house all on BHP. You'd have a range of hashtags to test. So do your hashtag research, look at some competitors, and then create a couple of different portfolios of 35 hashtags. And you can go and test those, and then test and measure and see what drives your traffic. So we do that with some of ours. We've got some Google Sheets with 35 hashtag pools, and we can cut, paste, copy and test from that, and then optimize and learn. And similarly, that's what we did with the world's best treehouse video. It's had several million views on YouTube now, but we measured the analytics and we watched what hashtags were working. So those analytics showed us that we're getting some great traffic from Germany, of all places. So I think the hashtag was Baumhausprofis, which is a German term, which we wouldn't have thought of. So that analytics insight was key for us to optimize that hashtag strategy and that search strategy. So I reckon a portfolio and test, watch and learn. Thank
you. That's very valuable information there. I really appreciate it. So turning the clicks, the organic clicks, into sales on e-commerce sites is also another tricky aspect to having a digital enterprise. And in today's highly competitive digital space, it's important to create brand identity through a personalised style of social media marketing. So please suggest the basic methods of creating a personalised social media platform in your opinion, please.
There's a couple things you touched on there. I think you need to turn on your tracking pixels, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Instagram tracking pixels, so you can start to send customized communications to potential customers. But I think from building a brand point of view, I think people are getting very savvy now. And I think this is a hunch, but we've watched and tested and measured some of this, want authentic stories. So there's everyone's spinning up an e-commerce store. There's lots of stories of sort of dodgy stores being set up and people potentially being ripped off. So I think if you can build that authenticity, show the founders, show some of the team, maybe show a little bit behind that curtain. Don't give away your secret sauce, of course, but let people know that you are real and live and breathe those values. And then maybe back that up with a content calendar that supports that. Don't make it onerous on your business. It needs to be achievable. Don't try and be like a Kardashian and do 100 a day. I don't know how many she does, but she's nearly got unlimited resources and that's her business model. But for average businesses, that may not be the way to play, and that may not be what your customers want. So set up a realistic content calendar. Maybe it's 2 to 3 posts a week and it's an email and maybe a podcast, but set something that's achievable and realistic and stick with it. Now, it's hyper competitive out there, so it might take you a year, 2 or 3 years to really get traction. But if you bundle it with a range of your business's marketing activities, you've actually got a great pool of content and assets that customers, when they come to research or review or discover you, they're looking at 3, 4, 5 different touch points. They're seeing your brand's authentic. They're seeing real customer testimonials. I think that's a net asset and a net value for the business. So be authentic and feel free to, just as I said, give a little bit away, show a little bit behind the curtain and be honest and authentic.
Thank you for your insights there. And you're absolutely right. It is a full-time job, and the first 2 to 3 years could be the most difficult, but also some of the most vital. So thank you for that. Yes, people should stick with it if that's their passion. Now, would you please give us some of your expert views on the 360 and VR or virtual reality videos space? Now, you blew me away before because working with the camera, we learn about crossing the line and things like that. And you've said that people can look anywhere with 360 video. Could you share some of the best practice and analytics in the space with us now?
There's a school of thought, it's emerging, and you can break rules similar to in traditional 2D, you can cross the line. But I think approach it like a scene, so make it immersive. So give people something to actually discover. Now, the other thing it can be disorientating for people. So you can just use it on your phone, you can use it on a tablet, or you can use it on a desktop. We can either use the mouse to choose where to look, whether it's up, down, or behind you, or you can get some VR type glasses. But don't cut too quick in your 360 scenes. It can be really disorientating for a user. So give it time to let it settle. And I think of it more like a theatre set. like or a stage show. That's kind of 180 degrees, but you've got a cast of 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, 50 people, even at the opera. You can choose where to look. So when you're setting up a scene or a 360 shoot, think about, key points of area where people can have a look. Give them enough time to actually discover. And there's some best practice around maybe adding a narrator. So we've done some tests using a bit of a voice walkthrough, just saying, here you are, you're at the treehouse, you can see the views here, the uninterrupted views of the national parks. So we've used a narrator to help let people know what they're looking at and where they're going. And also text. We've done a bunch of tests with text. So some little pop-up text that says, world's best treehouse, or spa and fireplace included, or overlooks the national park. So those little text call outs can help settle your viewer. They're not going to get nervous or feel queasy. It'll just help them direct their intention. So hopefully those tips will help anybody thinking about creating a 360 VR scene.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So in your opinion, we're reaching the end of our discussion now. What are the most recent social media trends that have captured your attention, please?
Yeah, it's look, YouTube's still hot. I think get in and do your tags, your descriptions, and optimize your thumbnails. This live streaming is really big. That's not going anywhere soon. TikTok's blowing up from a creator's point of view. So maybe there's something there for a brand to maybe go and do a paid campaign. I think it's tough for some brands to suddenly get on that TikTok bandwagon, but there are so many eyeballs and there's so many people there. Maybe it's an opportunity to do some paid sponsorships. Influencers are still really big. I think that's a great way to show authenticity. But once again, that influencer space has bloomed. So you've got to work out a way how to get to good influencers that are focused around your niche and will help you drive value. So make sure you do your research and find some good influencers there and kick a few tires, ask some hard questions. Look, and LinkedIn's still popular, but I'm finding it personally, being on it for many years now, it feels a little bit spammy with everyone's personal branding. So it feels like it's moved a little bit away from being true B2B with the news feeds and things, and a little bit more spamish. But that's one of our key tips for clients. Look, don't be spammy, drive value, keep it authentic, and create great optimized content. And hopefully over time you'll build an audience and drive value. So
thank you. It's so interesting to see how the different platforms attract different demographics and ethnographics even. Do you have any insights to share? For example, Facebook advertising. There's no manual or handbook on how to use it. Are there any insights you could share on how to set up ads? Or does Bake Agency offer that service?
We do less of the media side, so we help with the planning and the creation and the making of the content. We can help with some strategy and give you some guidelines, but we don't have a media team sitting there ready to book ads. But if you did want to learn more, Facebook's got some great learning modules online to talk step by step through making ads. They've got a bit of a builder there, so if you did want to, you could sort of DIY and build some ads. So I think it actually starts with who you're trying to reach. Create some great creative content, whether it's a headline and a thumbnail. It doesn't always have to be video. And then you can go through there. The last few years have gotten really good. You can go through their user-friendly widget and set up and start testing some ads. So I think the great thing there is you can just test with a budget of $50, $100, and you can be super niche as well. So we can help with the strategy and give you the recommendations to help find your audiences. And then maybe you either do it yourself or you might engage an agency to physically do the paid. But there's some terrific tools. You can target by geography, you can target by demographic, you can create lookalike audiences. There's some really great tools there. And the other big thing is make sure you've got your analytics, your Google Analytics set up, and make sure you've got your Facebook tracking pixel. Now, tracking's had a bit of a bad rap lately that people think it's snooping and there's privacy issues, but it can be key for your brand to retarget people. So if someone's watched a piece of content or visited your site, that could be a signal of intent, so you could then target them again later. So you can start to drive them down through your funnel. So think of that. That's how that content will work. You'll have a range of content sitting at various parts of your funnel, and customers will pick their way through it on their path to purchase until they buy from you. So you may not get an instant sale, but doing the right things, the right hashtags, analytics, and tagging can help those clients come back and be a future customer.
Yes, fingers crossed. Thanks so much for your time today, Jamie. And on that note, it's interesting.
Pleasure.
I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but when I've been thinking about products or services, sometimes just by chance it might pop up on my Facebook feed and like something similar or what I was thinking of. And I'm not sure how that ties into analytics or my searches, but it's pretty neat. That's all I can say about that. Have you experienced that at all, or know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's got a lot of press as well. People got a little bit excited or really curious about it. I looked into this a couple of years ago. There is a tool called, when you build an app for a phone, you use a range of various tools to build that app. You might use some hard coding, you might use some Google Analytics, you might use some pixels. So there's a tool called 𝐷𝐿 app, and it actually integrates into your app and listens to what people are loosely saying based off the microphone on the telephone. So they've sort of said that can help sort of target ads to you a bit later. So if you're talking about a brand or an area of interest, that's how some of those ads can start to pop up in your feed. I think now with Google Nest and Google Home and Amazon, whatever the Amazon at home version is called, they actually listen to your conversations well. So I'm not sure if they're actually tracking hashtags and points of intent, but I'm sure that's not far away. These guys are really sharp, and their ad businesses are built around, helping people get targeted ads and converting customers. And a lot of it can also be potentially your search history, and also the rules that someone sets up, publisher or campaign side. It depends how they set up and curate that campaign as well. Sometimes it can be spammy, but as you said, sometimes it's just right, just at the right time, and you're getting really relevant information. So it's a bit of a moving feast, but don't let it spook you. And I think now there's some new privacy policy standards where you can actually come in and turn cookies off and turn cookies on. And Apple, with their new phone, I think they've taken a bit of I've been doing some reading, they're taking a bit of a move towards more privacy and protecting and allowing the user to opt in. So a bit of a changing space. So let's see how it goes in the next 6 or 12 months.
Absolutely, a very exciting space to watch, and thank you so much for sharing your insider's perspective. It's obviously a very different world from the inside. So thank you again, Jamie, for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks.
And if you've just joined us, viewers, we had a very inspiring conversation with Mr Jamie Andrei, the founder of the 𝐵𝐸 Agency, and the full recorded interview will be available from 𝐾𝐿𝐼𝐴 Media's YouTube channel later today, so please check it out. And as we say, stay apprised and invest wise with 𝐾𝐿𝐼𝐴.